We are live over here. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing today? I hope everyone's good. And for those of you who are not in the US and you were telling me it's the middle of the night, bravo for you. We are live over on Substack right now. Join us. All right. Maybe I should put the link. Let me see. Do I know it by heart? I think I do. The Stillwell Society.substack.com. All right, that's good enough. That's not really that. I mean, I would have tried to put something a little more a little bit more poetic. Peace. All right, let me see. Let me see. Welcome. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Tanisha. Girl, not me struggling every day. Hold on. Oh, this make a lot more sense. This make a lot of sense. Now I'm struggling. I have to struggle. All right, let's see. I'm driving, but I'm listening. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect. All right, make sure I didn't miss anything. Hey, hey, hey. All right. Good evening from the UK. Hello. All right, I'm glad you guys can hear me today. All right, let's get started. I have my notes. I have them here this time. I should have written them down, though. I really don't like being on the computer. I'm really excited to be back here another day. Tomorrow is our last day of lives. Tomorrow is 12 noon. If you are looking at the replay of this over on YouTube, I am live and will be live again on or in our Substack community, which will be down in the description box. And Substack is really where I'm giving my love. I love my YouTube people. A lot of people over here found me on YouTube, but Substack is like this is our spot. This is where we are. Yesterday was just so good, wasn't it? Yeah. I just felt like even I went back through the recording and I was like, girl, take some notes. That was good. I feel like sometimes I download also like information when we're doing it like spiritually. All right. Do me a favor, and if you know anyone who would benefit from the information we are going to do today, send them the link. Let them, I don't know. Can you send oh yeah. So copy the link. You can share it with people. Didn't know you could do that. Let me tell her we are live because she wanted to know. We are live. And since apparently we can share the link, let's see. Let me see if I can do this without cutting you off. Um, oh, boom. Can I just do that like that? All right. There we go. Yeah, hit the share button, share with someone who you love, share with somebody that you care about. Today we are talking about how childhood programming is basically running your grown adult life. I'm sure we have all heard it. So often we I knew something else was different. Yeah, bear with me. I don't know what's going on with me today. Believe it or not, today was a coaching day. I usually don't coach on a tripod. I'm like, why I feel like y'all low and everything? Like, what the heck is happening? So please bear with me. If I cut you off, hmm, what I said, I couldn't even get the sentence out. Hold on. I couldn't even get the sentence out and I didn't cut y'all off. I'm going to fix it. Hold on. Give me a minute. My God. All right. What are we doing? Flip that back around. Hold that up. All right, let me. Oh, child, this is what's going on. I took the case off yesterday. Y'all don't laugh at me. I got a lot going on. Clearly, hold on. We go figure it out. Cause like something's up. Now let's try to put you in the thing. All right. Can you guys let me know if just want to make sure you guys can still see me and hear me since I was doing the most. Since I was absolutely doing the most. There's still no visuals. It should have popped back. Did it not pop back? If it didn't pop back, I'll hang up and do it again. Tanisha, please. Okay. But we fixed it. Okay. Because I was like, but look how big and bulky like my case is. I had a little thing on there. You know what I'm saying? And it was struggling and I forgot what we were doing. Okay. All right. Let's try this again. Hey guys, it's Dr. Stephanie. I'm excited to be here. Now I feel like we're situated the way we're supposed to be situated in order to have a really, really great evening. As I was saying before, please ensure that you share this with at least one person that you love. Am I the only one with no visual? Apparently, if you hop out and hop back in and there's still no visual, we'll check and just make sure everybody else can still see me. But I think it's probably just you. I did click off for a second. We didn't turn the camera on. All sorts of stuff been happening on this. I started FaceTime. Anyway. All right. So we're running around a whole bunch of grown children. A whole bunch of grown children. And the reason we're running around a whole bunch of grown children is because the way in which we think, move, and act is dictated by our programming. And so, unless you have actively done the work, you're a grown child. And a little note around this is you can run around as a grown child in one area while in other areas you've done the work. We kind of hit on that a little bit yesterday, right? Sometimes we work on our beliefs around an area, the areas we're struggling in the most. We're not always doing the whole body system, the holistic, we'll call that holistic. It's mind, body, spirit, it's every area of your life. And if that's the case, you may have one area of your life that you really worked on. And I told you guys, I'm really, really guilty. You may have one area of your life that you really leaned in on. So for me, it was success, money, entrepreneurship. Like I really leaned in on that and then neglected other parts of my life that just, I'm not going to say they didn't seem important, but it just, did I really need to do work on it? Because as we talked about yesterday, what happens is if between manifesting and this deep work, people don't choose the deep work because they don't want to face themselves. They don't want to face the beliefs. They don't want to face the programming. They don't want to face those things. And I could have possibly been guilty of that because certain conversations just drive more emotion that I don't want to deal with or talk to or, hopefully you guys follow what I'm saying, okay? Let me know in the comments. Just give me periodically an amen or something so I know you guys still here, all right? Um, so a lot of people feel like therapy alone is enough. And therapy is not. Reading all the books is not enough. You will still end up in the same patterns. And the reason you're going to end up in those same patterns is because we are dealing with the childhood version of you. So, real quick, as we're starting, I would love to know what patterns in your life, drop me a few answers, what patterns in your life have been reoccurring for you? What is something that's recurred for you that you know? And it could be any area. It doesn't have to be money and success, even though that's where my focus is and I love talking about. It could literally be any area. What is something that recurs for you until we get in and do the work, whatever it is? And I will wait because that's what I do to force you guys to give me an answer. Doom, 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 doom. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Self sabotage. Oh, we are so guilty of that, aren't we? Self sabotage. What else that's recurring? Planning without follow through. I struggle with forgiveness. Bravo to you for being honest. People really, they're honest about some of the other things. People aren't always honest with that. So thank you for being honest and vulnerable. Absolutely. All right. Thank you for at least giving me some answers. Um, as you know, we've talked about it. We talked about it yesterday. Between 7 months gestation, sleeping a lot or not enough when things get overwhelming. Oh, let me tell you, and my favorite thing to do is to escape. Like I tend to know like what's happening. I'm overwhelmed. I will either deal with insomnia or I will find myself like just want to lounge, not wanting to, like, not being driven. And it's not even about work. It's about like just home, anything. I tend to like with my dining table, because I work for my dining table. Yeah, I have a whole office. I don't even go down there, okay? But when my dining table gets ridiculous, I know, right? Rejection, deep rooted belief that I'm not worthy, which results in inconsistency. We talked about unworthiness last night, Jovita. Um, Make sure at some point go look at the post. I think it literally says manifesting versus subconscious reprogramming or something like that. Probably two posts before this. Okay. Before it's the one before the one I just put out to say, are we going to meet tonight? Okay. Just so you know, I think that'll be helpful there. So as you know, between 7 months gestation and 7 years old, your brain is in that theta state, which is like a hypnotic state, the hypnotic frequency. And at that time, you are unable to analyze what's actually happening. You are simply absorbing. You are simply in a state of absorbing and recording whatever is happening and whatever is going on. And typically, these are the things, just quick review, these are the things that get programmed: your relationship with money, your family's relationship money, which then becomes yours, but not even just your family's, like your civic leaders, the people who you spend time around, babysitters, like whatever you're spending the most time, things you're watching on TV, things you're exposed to on TV, things you're exposed to on the radio. Um, like I mentioned last night, the idea of what people like us can or can't do, how love works and what we have to do to get love. This is where our love programming comes from as well. Whether the world is safe or whether the world is dangerous. And a lot of people really do have the core belief that the world is dangerous, and people is like they really believe that, right? It's your programming and your worthiness or lack of it. Those are the things that get programmed during that time, right? And the wild thing is that you don't choose these beliefs. They are just installed based upon what you're exposed to, what your mind is exposed to in that tape recorder mode. And the reason it's still running is because what happens is after that exposure and it's locked in as your belief, your truth, you had it unconscious and not even in your uh like you didn't have anything to do with it really. It becomes the agreements. You know, we talked about agreements last night. That was an unconscious agreement. Most of the agreements we talk about, we really do just say, this is true, and we agree with it. That was an unconscious agreement because it never, your brain wasn't in a state of consciousness, really. It was in a theta state. It was in the hypnosis state. So those things become your truth. And then after 7, everything that we experience in the world either show that that's true or show it doesn't. And most often, about 99% of the time, it's going to show all those things are true. Not that necessarily those things are the truth, but it might be a truth. But because that went in as your core programming, it locks in as the truth. So that means the rest of your life, teenage years, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, everything around you is formed to prove your hypothesis is yours, to prove your hypothesis correct, to prove your agreement correct, to prove your thoughts correct. Now, also during this time, you're not just dealing with that, you're now dealing with other things that you've come into agreement with. So not only do you have the childhood, you have the rest of the things that you've come into agreement with. And even if you didn't know any better, but even if some of those things would come up and you clocked it as true because of what your programming was, at no point did anyone tell you you didn't have to agree with it. At no point did anyone tell you that you didn't have to say, yeah, this is the truth for me. At no point did anyone tell you. And so you have continued on as an adult, holding on to these truths, these beliefs. And the thing about these beliefs, you can consciously know and want something different. But if you're holding on to these beliefs, and we hit on this last night, what's happening is anything that's opposite of that a few things. This is outside of you consciously wanting something new. So let's say these are your beliefs, you know they're your beliefs, and that's just how life is. Have you ever heard somebody say, this is just what it is? This is how life is, right? So you have decided that. Anything outside of that, anything, so when you do get to a state that you start noticing people like you, people in your community, or maybe they're not, maybe you hit a space that it's like, I want more. And I know these people can get more. And I think social media is helpful for a lot of things and harmful for a lot of things. You found me through social media. And I always try to remember that when I try to, when I realize I don't particularly care for the online space. I don't. You would not believe it. But I always say that I'm blessed because that's how people know who I am. So, but on the flip side of that, there are two sides to every coin. On the flip side of that, what also is happening is you're exposed to more possibilities because you see how other people live. You see other people's experiences, and all of a sudden you realize you've lived in a vacuum of people who are similar to you in belief systems. And so that's all you've been exposed to. And so for a lot of people, either they see other people doing that and it makes those people somehow an outlier and different. Maybe clocks as that person is lying. That's when people always say, well, that couldn't be true. It's like, no, it couldn't be true for you, right? And the reason it couldn't be true for you is because this is literally the way you see the world. And so imagining that someone sees the world or had world experiences of anything different just feels odd, right? Um, there are a lot of things that I consider negative, like that feels odd. I'm always like, that's odd. Is that what you think that? How do you like that? Right? It goes both ways, good or bad. But online is where we receive those experiences of those things. And so that's the good thing about social media is that it is exposed us. But if you haven't done the work, whether you are the person who hadn't been exposed and this is just the way things are and something happens to bump up against that belief, or you've been exposed and you decide I want more, what will often happen is that subconscious will act like a whole toddler and have a whole fit. And the reason is because it doesn't feel safe. It's being shown or yeah, being shown or exposed to something that's not safe. What's safe is what we know. Even if what's safe and what we know is actually not safe for us. Even if what we know and we deem as safe is something that is going to hold us back from what we know we are being called to, will hold us back from our greater, will hold us back from what we know the call on our life is. Our subconscious will act up like a little toddler. And typically people go to therapy, and unless you have a therapist who understands deeper work, and not all therapists do. I see the TikTok and Instagram therapists, and I'm like, some of these people do more damage than good. I'm like, do y'all really have a license? I'm always questioning that. A lot of therapists bring their trauma to their patients, to the advice they give, and it's just not okay. It's not okay at all. So, therapy and personal development isn't enough because understanding your childhood wounds will not automatically reprogram your subconscious. You just understand what the wounds are. Now, what are you doing not only to heal the wound, so you heal the wound, but did you put anything else in its place? A truth, right? You can consciously know something's not true while subconsciously you'll still operate as if it is. So therapy very often will work on like what your conscious beliefs are, but subconsciously your body is literally still responding to the dissonance between what its belief is and this new thing that you're introducing, okay? And then talking about what has happened to you is actually using your conscious mind while your programming lives in the subconscious. I hope that makes sense to you guys. And you have to realize that your conscious, it's moving at like 11 bits per second while your subconscious is moving at 40. And quite frankly, it just can't keep up. The subconscious is going to forever run the show. Let me see what comments I'm missing. Let's go back. Uh-oh, popped it up. Why is, let's see if I could tap up there and it show to do the comments better. Let me see. Oh, thank you. That post is titled, "This is Complete Subconscious Block for Money." Thank you, because I don't know what I thought. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, we have rejection. I'm still dealing with abandonment and unworthiness from father leaving. It flows into my romantic relationships. Absolutely. Let's come down. So true. I had a old school therapy, CBD. It was life changing, cognitive behavioral therapist. Yeah, I'm aware. That is the only therapy I've ever had, and even then, that therapist had me like, I ain't never going no therapy. I'll be honest. Everybody, every therapy, like and I think it's like anything. Personal trainers, hairstyle. Like sometimes you got to shop around doctors. You got to shop around for sure. Okay. Typically it shows up in adulthood. Like, again, like I'll use the one Kristen just used. If you haven't dealt with your issues, your father issues, it will show up in your relationships as an adult with men and how you deal with men. A lot of times I hear people talking about certain stuff, and the real question should be asked is, who hurt you? Who hurt you when you were little? Who hurt you? I think that I won't even get into that. But experiences as a child will absolutely dictate how you see the world in relationships as well as an adult. Okay. Um, in money and business, it's going to show up like undercharging, don't be greedy, right? Holding on to money, we never have enough is a programming. Overworking, because people have this belief that they have to have some sort of struggle in order to deserve money, right? People are addicted even to struggle stories in social media. And I tell people all the time, yeah, I had my moment as an adult when I definitely, like, I put myself in certain situations, but I always tell people I don't have a struggle growing up story, and that's okay. You don't have to have that. You don't have, like, on social media, people like to trauma bond over those sort of stories. And I'm like, we're not doing that. We're not doing, because it's not the truth. I have people who went to university with me, who grew up with me, and sometimes I see them talking about stuff online, and I'm like, did you fool yourself that that was your experience? Because that's what I remember. But it's so easy to get online, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're selling something, and then you get caught up and you have to have a story, you have to have an arc, and you get caught up in that thing. But your story can start out where your story is. Your story doesn't have to be a struggle story. You can overcome something completely different. You can grow up in a working middle class family and still have money stories to overcome. That doesn't mean you have to have a struggle story. And I just really want people to leave that alone, because how did we get here? And then their entire social media persona becomes, I struggled and overcame. You got to let that story go. This is a side note that really has nothing to do with this, but sort of, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because it was an aha moment for me. And if you're an entrepreneur that sells something, this might be helpful for you. When I was doing, I first went into high ticket, and I think the very first program that was high ticket, I want to say it was 5,000, and I did like a fast action scholarship of 1,000 if you signed up on the call with me for 4,000, right? And I think I did that a couple times, but I would always like still get applications and calls with people who didn't have any money. And I was like, this is very weird, because if you know this is a sales call, why would you get on this call and waste my time? Why would you apply and waste my time? And I could not understand why I was attracting so many people. And they would be like, oh my God, I so resonate with your story. And I would typically start the story in my 20s, right before I started my business, or as I was starting my business and really trying to get my finances together and having a little baby and having to move back home. That's why I would start the story. And one day I had a session with my mentor, and I said, I'm really confused because other people in here aren't dealing with this situation. And I'm wondering, what am I doing wrong that even though I'm able to still get the clients that's willing to pay this, what am I doing wrong that I'm having to filter through so many people who have a struggle story? And that man said to me, "Are you telling a struggle story?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Are you telling one? Are you telling a story where you struggled and had to overcome?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, but I put emphasis on like overcame and this is where we are now and we're doing, 70 to 100K a month." And he was like, "No, you were telling the story. You're literally talking to the people you don't even want to apply. When you tell the struggle story, you attract the struggle people." It was like this aha for me. From that moment, anything around high ticket, I don't talk about. I won't tell the story to my high ticket. I won't if I know nope. And I really don't tell it that often anymore. Like I'll talk about the 15K situation, but to think about it, I don't even talk about the negative bank account days. I don't do that anymore because the conversation you have dictates the people you're going to attract. Yes, relatable. And I say this all the time. I don't like being relatable. Even if you guys think I'm relatable, I'm like, no, I'm not relatable. Like I want to be so unrelatable. You like, I need to connect with her because she knows something I don't know. Like maybe a past story is relatable. Maybe my personality. We'll go for that. But like that story of struggle was what called them in. And so I was just having a mixed bag of people who were coming to me. As soon as I stopped, it went from like out of 10 applications, 8 would be like that, to out of 10 applications, 1 might be like that. It stopped just like that. And I realized the truth in what he was saying is I am literally talking to the struggle, literally. And that's true whether you are promoting something to sell. And it's true even talking to yourself. Do you promote struggle to yourself? What story are you continuing to tell to yourself? Right? And things changed at that point. So yeah, so the overworking, you have to struggle, blah, 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 blah. Yes, be inspirational instead of relatable. Absolutely. Slave movies taught. Who is this? Let me see who this is. Ebony. Ebony. Did I say it right? I think I said it. Ebony. Slave movies taught me that I was inferior. Let me tell you something. I ain't never watched a slave movie in my life. I remember being in elementary school and they were showing, I don't know the name of it, but I just know it's Kunta Kinte. I went to sleep on it. I don't watch that. I'm talking elementary school. It just boring to me. It didn't do any I didn't want to watch that. And I ain't slow. If you tell me my history, if we're reading my history, okay, I know the history of Black people in America. I know about chattel slavery. Why are we also watching this in picture form? And we're also watching it, to my understanding about it, and I'm using that specifically because it's the only thing I was supposed to be exposed to. And my mom ended up not taking me to school the rest of the week that they were doing it because my mom's not into that either. Like by any means, she just like no, 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 no. Um, to my understanding, everyone I talk to who's watched it, they say, "Oh yeah, every time I watch this, I get mad at a group of people." And I'm like, "Well, how would you show a child that?" Anything emotionally driven, we talk about this. If it's emotionally driven, it is programming the subconscious. And I don't believe in anything. As a child, you are teaching a child they are in, that's what people pick up on from those sorts of things. But those things just have never called me. I don't know why I need to watch that and get a picture into my subconscious of it. And most of the people I talk to who have deep issues with getting over feeling inferior are people who watch those kind of movies and have always watched those kind of movies. That does not seem like anything that um is supposed to go into my spirit. It just don't. Yay, I caught you live. Yay. Roots, thank you. I'm like, I don't know the name. It just didn't seem like anything that I should have been exposed to. Like, and it was just a knowing. As an adult, my son has never watched it either. You can know your history without needing pictures, without emotionally having to be driven. What do you think that is going to do? So I'm grateful, I guess, that I was just I was saying this earlier to my group. I'm grateful I was just a contrary kid and refused to do what I didn't want to do and went to sleep. Yes, very traumatic at 6 and 7. It is. And think about this. Don't forget, those are the formative years. Those are the years when you're on tape record. And now this is true. And so it's weird because I said to people yesterday, she said, wait, I can't wait till you discuss sex. Baby, I get on my own nerves. I was out of line yesterday. It was funny though. That was Stephanie. It was real. It was me. It was me for real. But I didn't mean I didn't mean to say it. But 6 and 7 year olds are still being programmed. And then you have adults who feel intimidated by people who don't look like them, who move a certain way. I don't believe in that. No, because it dictates how you see the world and it dictates how you believe the world sees you. And it's like, you could put on different glasses because it's not true. Even if it was once true, it's not. You choose a different truth, okay? In relationships, this looks like attracting unavailable partners because you believe that love requires sacrifice. Self-sabotaging good relationships because you believe you're not worthy of being treated well. And over functioning, which means kind of like the whole self-worth issue in business and money. I have to earn love. So it's like the belief that you have to earn whatever the thing is, right? And then in success, this shows up as playing small. You don't want to stand out. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to be in front of a whole bunch of people. Self-sabotaging, like right before you get to a breakthrough. Um, because you don't believe success is safe. That safety word comes up. And then imposter syndrome, which is people like us don't do, or people like me don't get, right? And I hear this story all the time. Like the number of people who would say, I grew up poor. My grandmother raised me and I grew up poor on a farm. And it's like, what the hell they got to do with today? Okay, well, you grew up on a farm. And if you know what I know, you know how much farm equipment costs? You might not have been as poor as you thought you was, or maybe the money was going up. This farm equipment expensive. Might not be what you thought. Church played The Devil's Funeral had me believing I was literally the devil. Listen, no one talks about these things, but we expose our kids to things that we should absolutely not be exposing them to in the name of like, oh, they need to know. Like, why would you expose them to that? Like, why? Knowing it's trauma. That's hilarious. Make sure I didn't miss anything else. Okay. Um, so here's the truth. Your programming, it won't actually go away. And you may have heard me talk about that in the post about fat cells. How fat cells will shrink, but they never actually go away. But you can actually keep those beliefs dormant. All right. So the goal is to bring new beliefs in and let those beliefs shrink like fat cells and lie dormant. Thing about fat cells, if you lose weight, you know how easy it is to lose weight and then gain it right back because the fat cells didn't go anywhere, right? The same is true with the beliefs. This is why I tell you guys this is a lifestyle. We have to make the things that we do a part of us, a part of our actual lifestyle till you die. I'm not going to sugarcoat. Ask me how I know if you stop doing it, you'll move into other timelines till you die. You might have a period of time, you might have 2-3 years you could do it because of the seeds you've been planting and what's been growing. But eventually, if you don't continue to water that garden and cut the weeds, those weeds will come back and stronger than ever. All right. This is work you have to do all the time. It's like a computer virus that's been on a hard drive. You can't really delete it, but you can install different and better software that will override it and keep it from running. That's basically what's happening. All right. Keeping it dormant looks like recognizing when your old patterns are trying to activate. It looks like having new programming installed that's stronger and louder. So earlier on a coaching call, I was talking about um, the goal is to think more thoughts that fit the version of you that you desire to be than the truth or than a truth that's happening in the physical 3D or a belief. The goal is to have more of one thing than the other until eventually it just shrinks. And you notice there are some areas of my life I never have a negative belief around. I just don't because it's not either it shrank. Well, not either. It shrank. Like it's not there or and I have more programming, more things that like one belief around this does not supersede the 100 that's here, like smothering that belief down and keeping it dormant. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me know if it's making sense in the comments. Let me know if it's making sense. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Katrina. Katrina said, I'm gonna answer her because she crazy. She won't talk and won't. All right. Here's the truth. You will always have money programming that tries to come back online, that tries to show back up. It's normal. But the work is recognizing it and choosing to lean into that new programming and consistently give yourself more programming. Okay. So just recognize that and be okay with that. Because often my clients think they're doing something wrong and they're not doing anything wrong. It's just a computer program. And sometimes it comes up more often because you haven't been putting in the new programming long enough to override it and it hasn't shrank enough. Like we like to take 30 years of programming that doesn't align with what we desire and we think that we can do 6 months of work and that programming just will never pop back up again. It's not how it works, babes. Okay? Not how it works. So this is why we're walking around as adult children until you do the work to actually reprogram it because we really are moving and operating as kids and our subconscious really wants to keep us safe and it really wants to keep us held, but it feels out of control. It feels like everything it knows to be true. Like think about it on a conscious level. If everything you know to be true on a conscious level all of a sudden you're getting all this information that is not. People usually do one of three things. They either adjust really quickly and like, whoa, I've been lied to. Wow. They crush under the pressure, like they're going crazy, or they deny it. The truth could be right in front of it, but they're gonna deny it because this is what my belief is. This is what it will always be a well this, a well this, a well this. Those are the three things that happens. Makes sense. So does that mean you're never really healed? Let's stay from the word healed. All right. Inherently, nothing's wrong with you. Your subconscious is doing what it's supposed to do. You just received programming that well meaning people around you, or maybe they weren't, but most people, they were well meaning, gave you. They had it, of course. So they didn't have a choice but to give it to you. They didn't know that it was the cause of their own experiences in life. And a lot of times they're giving it to you out of their own fear and wanting to keep you safe. They're operating similar to the subconscious. And so I don't want to say you're never really healed because you're not sick. There's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But it does mean that you have to continuously and like make this a part of your lifestyle. You can't hang out with crackheads no more if you smoke crack. See, every day I'm gonna get a crazy example. If you used to smoke crack, you cannot be around crackheads no more. I don't care if it's been 2 years. I don't care if it's been 5 years. I don't care if it's been 20 years. You cannot be around crackheads. I have problems like struggle stories irk me like real bad. Like certain stories and certain conversations, I don't want to lean into it. I'm sure friends or people close to me will notice my whole tone would kind of change or I change the conversation because I don't want to sit in that unless we're talking solution based conversation, right? So your crack might be around money and around not my child FaceTiming me. He just begging for some. I know he is. Um, Anyway, your crack might be money and struggles around money or what anything like that. That means that you cannot have conversations around money struggles with anybody. You should not be watching programming that feels relatable to you in any way and that character has money issues. You have to stay away from the crack. Just say no to drugs, okay? And the drug in this space is whatever the thing is you're dealing with. Does that make sense for you? Right, there you go. Listen, I'm working, I'm trying. I just have the craziest um I look at life as a continuous school. Once you've learned one lesson, you move on to the next. And I truly believe it's like that until you die. It's like that until you die. And the beautiful thing is what I would love to believe is we come here for our soul to learn, get the lessons, learn the lessons, evolve. And then also for people, I like to just say people to see God in us, through us, see what's possible, and us to pass it on, which is also why I am sort of a gatekeeper about a lot of things. I'm not a gatekeeper about this kind of work though. I will talk to you for free about this kind of work. I'm not a gatekeeper about this. Like you have to know that your life can change. So we learn the lessons and we pass the lessons on to those who are open and ready good times. Because you don't know what's going to come up at all. And so I just deeply believe that it's a constant growth and learning process as humans on this planet in a physical body. And we have to accept that. And I'm just going to be honest and tell you guys, I've had a whole bunch of days that I've made statements like, I'm sick of growing. And you might be like, what? You do know in order to realize you need to grow in a way that there has to be some level of contrast. Contrast does not feel good, not to the subconscious, but also not to the human consciously. Experiencing things you don't want to experience so you will be called higher to grow to the next level does not feel good. I mean, like, why? Can I quit growing for a minute? Like, give your girl a minute. A minute. You just really, God, you just go, keep hitting me. You know, I'm not a sports person. I was a dance girl. But like I ain't really used to dodging the ball. Like, why you keep that's where growth happens, right? Most people stay stuck because they hate contrast. Exactly. Exactly. But it's like that's where the growth happens. Once you get the thing, it's the next level. That's what it is. You get the lesson. And I think it's beautiful. So yeah, I just want to make sure you don't think of it like you're not healed. It's just understanding that this new version of you is a person who loves self-development. It's a person who knows how important it is to surround yourself with the beautiful things, whether it's beautiful in like aesthetic or it's beautiful as in like words is beautiful, experiences that's beautiful, like how beautiful it is to surround yourself with that things you want as opposed to things you don't. Nothing's wrong. You're not sick. You work perfect, right? Let's see, make sure I didn't miss anything. Any other questions about that? Because I think that can trip so many people up. And ultimately, I will say this in the beginning, when we do the work, we're doing a lot more work. I don't lean in as hard into the work unless I have to. And what I mean, typically I have to if I've fallen off the work for too long. Now I got to make up. And now, because now contrast is really showing me like, oh, you hadn't been doing the work. What's wrong with you? Like, now you got to go back. But when you create a life that like every day you're just doing it, it becomes maintenance, right? Think about, let's go back to weight. We'll do weight. Losing weight takes time and it's effort every day. It's being intentional. It's focusing on what you're putting in your mouth. It's focusing on movement. It's focusing on how much sleep you get. It's like you are really on top of it. And it almost feels like all day, every day, you talk thinking about weight and food, to be honest. And it's annoying. And when you move out of that, then you go into maintenance. If you don't, and you go back to the old version of you, what happens? That's the perfect analogy, actually. Yes, it's a full-time job until it's not. And then it just becomes innately a part of you or you work it in. Like I used to just make sure every night and every morning I would listen to some audio, I would do my journaling, just randomly do breath work. I didn't really have to, and for no reason, it wouldn't be for any specific subject anymore. And then I fell off all of it for a while, right? Until you learn, like, oh, I can never do that. I can never, ever, 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 ever do that. And that's okay. You just forever in maintenance mode. And again, I think in the beginning, it sounds like a lot of work because it is a lot of work in the beginning. It is a lot of very consciously focused effort to become the woman you want to be. It's so you can be who you want to be. And I think it's worth it to become who you want to become. Now, to keep it, we got to maintain who we are, who we are. And I had an epiphany right before this call, which is probably why I, like, literally right before this call, probably why I was a little late. And my epiphany was, and after being in maintenance for a certain amount of time, God will call us to even greater. And now we got to move out of maintenance and back into that do the work state. God will call us to something we haven't experienced before. Thus, we haven't done the work to that next level. It is not true to our subconscious to the next level. So now we got to go back and do the work to get this new level true to the subconscious. Literally, this was a conversation right before we, like, as a matter of fact, I was having that conversation when I was like, wait, what time is it? 7:06. Get off this. Literally, you might have that moment of like, okay, good, we're here. We're still learning lessons. We're still doing things, but you can learn lessons and not elevate. But you will be called to the next level. And in that next level, all of a sudden you're back being uncomfortable. You're back having to really lean into the work. And now it is something you have to pay attention to, like you're back on that diet, like you're back in rehab, like you're back in whatever the thing is until you get to a space where that's now we're back in maintenance mode until God calls you higher. I hope that's making sense to you guys. Pop these glasses back on. I don't know why they keep moving like that today. Ever since the camera did whatever it did. My little comment section real little hunting is a full-time job, but I'm in it 10 toes down. Having issues with my wardrobe. I throw my clothes out, start over, and repeat the cycle of saying I have no clothes. Um, to wait, to nothing I need to do. I'm gonna try to make that make sense in my brain away because I might have missed something. I think might just be anyway. Point being, a few things. Stop throwing your clothes out. Buy quality clothes. Let me take the back. Might need to throw them out if they're not quality. Buy quality clothes. Buy natural fibers. Fibers hold frequency, just like humans do. And some people will tell you otherwise. I try real hard not to buy polyester anymore. I try real hard. This has nothing to do with the cost of clothes, by the way, because you can literally go in somewhere where a dress is $2,000 and look at the tag. And I, like, in my head, I'm like, cut it up. It's plastic, right? You can find. Unfortunately, I think to really get quality clothes, almost now you gotta almost do vintage. You can find quality clothes, but buy clothes that is meant to last. You take care of your clothes meant to last, and um, get with you a stylist. I don't know, Sharice, are you still on this line? Sharice is a stylist, and she's an amazing stylist. I don't know, Sharice, if you're here, say something in the comments. I saw you pop on. Um, she's a stylist, and she tends to work with people inside of my programs. I read about that last year, the energy and fabrics, absolutely. Um, but it's a huge part of why, like, I'm diligent. I haven't thrown things out, but as I've been buying new things, I'm only buying those things that fit the version of me that only wears natural fibers to the best of my ability, right? I would thrift because I can only wear linen. Yes, and I love linen. Oh my God, I love linen and I love cashmere. Let's see, she must have gotten off. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, wait a minute. I can never go back to crack. Thus, people Like, I'm 3 years sober, and I used to judge it on why you're still counting. You're clearly not an addict. Oh, no, because you're always an addict. You can't go around people. And I'm always mindful of people who I have a friend, who had been sober a whole bunch of years, and when she would come around and we would go out and I would want a glass of wine, I would be mindful and I wouldn't get a glass of wine, and she would be like, "You can get a glass of wine." But I think it's a little disrespectful, and I understood from her point of view, she didn't wanna make me uncomfortable, um, but you ain't gonna make me uncomfortable. I don't really care about drinking like that. It's a glass of wine that I'm gonna sit and babysit. Girl, let me get this sparkling water, right? But a lot of people are not conscious of that. You really have to make sure whatever it is, you're not around people like that. I literally don't go around people who constantly have a bad money story. I do not talk to them. It's always a struggle. It's always a struggle. We're not doing it. I don't want to hear it. And it's why people I love, like genuinely love, our relationships have suffered, and that's okay. It's a season for everything. It will never be the season for me to ever do that again. When I think about my broke days, when I think about I was having broke conversation. I would be talking about like, oh, we got to get to this money. No, we got to get to this money when we making money already. Like we're gonna if we making money and we getting to this money, great. But if we broke and we start, the whole energy of the conversation around money is different. Does that make sense to you? So you have to just make sure knowing that you're forever an addict to whatever your subconscious thing ish is. Make sure you are putting yourself in environments with people who match where you're going. I pray that makes sense to you guys. All right. So if you guys don't have any questions, we will get ready to go. That is how it got where it is. What we're doing tomorrow is the 31st. Tomorrow, Halloween. Like between yesterday realizing that the first is not next week and just now getting to the fact that Halloween is tomorrow. Guess that means I'm not giving nobody candy and I'm not doing nothing because Halloween tomorrow. Wow. Okay. So tomorrow, it's not the last day for you to sign up, but day after tomorrow, we start the 30-day reprogramming challenge. Literally 30 days, you're going to come in every day. You're going to get content, email. Oh, you're still in here. Okay. Sharice, the person who just commented, she's the person that's the stylist. And I think she's like amazing when it comes to helping you purge some of those things. Not throw out though, by the way. You said throw out, not throw away. Helping you purge, sell it, with other things you can do with it. And then picking items that can last for life or long term, right? Like you don't have a cashmere sweater and you buy another one next year because that you threw that one out, right? You don't, right? Um so on Saturday, which is the first, we start the 30-day reprogramming challenge. And I'm really excited about it because I go through these challenges with you guys, even though I do the work every single day. But if you are in a place that you know you're being called to your next level and it's time for you to reprogram these beliefs, this is absolutely for you. We are going through and we are reprogramming, working and focusing on being in the right theta state, which there are specific times, specific moments. Most people think it's just before you go to sleep. It's not. You can put yourself there in hypnosis. You can let other people put you there. We are going through all of those things so you will have all the tools necessary. We're going to do nervous system work because your body is literally holding programming. We'll do somatic practices, breath work, and movement so that we can create safety. How I said that if it's dissonance between what you believe subconsciously and what you're trying to do. Uh, Kimberly, please. But why did I see the word sex with no glasses? Kimberly, please. Not y'all want me to act up. But I'm going to answer that question in a minute. But where the dissonance happens between your subconscious belief and your conscious beliefs, when you have these practices in place, then yes, you can feel your body and then you know how to calm, okay, and create the safety around those new beliefs. We're going to dig into repetition and emotion because repetition by itself is not enough, and emotions without the right thoughts and the right things won't work either. Your subconscious learns after 7 as an old adult, old crusty adult. It's emotionally charged repetition that really moves us forward, not just saying words, but really becoming that version of you who has it and around emotions, okay? And identity level shifts. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. When I get done, you're gonna be like, "Ooh," you can start telling everybody, like, "No, I don't agree with that. I don't see the world that way." Because you recognize how important it is that you choose your identity, you choose what you're gonna say yes to. You choose because when you say yes, when you come into an agreement with somebody else's belief, you've now come into agreement with your own belief for you. And we don't take on other people's beliefs. We don't come into agreements with things that we don't want. We're always making agreements. We're making agreements. Literally, you listening to me, you're making an agreement. We're always making agreements, but you should make an agreement to what you want, not what you don't. Most people make agreements that's the very opposite of what they want. Hence, go back to trauma bonding. Whenever you see trauma bonding on social media, like all you're seeing is a bunch of people that's rolling around in poo. They're mess. They're rolling around in their trauma. And as they're rolling around in it, they are having a good time being in agreement with their trauma. They've identified with that trauma. And that's why when you hear a traumatic story or a story that is about not having, or like when I was saying, I was telling a story about like when my money story was not good and like overcoming that, and people would like resonate with it. Technically, what they were doing was bonding with the trauma. In my mind, you should over bond with the overcome, but they were bonding with that. And they were coming into agreement, like, oh yeah, that's where I am. Stop coming into agreement with stuff. Stop. So we are digging into all of that because you have to, as an adult, get to a point where your childhood, that little kid can go sit down and that little kid can feel safe. And that little kid will know, like in your subconscious, your that little kid version of you will know, I'm safe with what my big version, what big me is choosing for me. I'm safe. And that's where you have to get in order to get the programming going and get the thing that you want. And so it's a full holistic approach of mind, body, and spirit over the next 30 days. If you haven't signed up yet, actually, if you scroll all the way up, I wonder if I can put the link if you want to upgrade to. Can I do it while I'm on the phone? Hold on, I'm gonna try. It might take me off for a minute. Hold on. Grab the link. All right. Y'all still here? Um, Here's the link to upgrade tomorrow. The welcome information, all that stuff is going to be coming out to you tomorrow on Halloween. I had a time figuring out last. There's the link. It's direct. Put you right to it. It should be right before Natalie. Yeah. Um, That'll take you right to becoming a partner. When you become a partner, you're automatically in. But not only are you in for the 30 days, for the 30-day challenge, you unlock everything on our site. And ask anybody who's been here a while, this is the place you want to be. This is where you want to hang out. You really don't want to hang out on those other social media platforms anyway, unless they're feeding you and feeding you what you want, feeding you good bread, feeding you a good meal, not crap and not stuff that might taste good to like, ooh, this is an interesting conversation. Let me get caught in there. But it's crap for you. It's crap. So I spend most of my time, to be real transparent. Most of my time is actually spent here on Substack, but this is where you grow. There are, I think, over 68 posts. There are hours of content that's here. To sign up, I think it's $379 for the year, or you can break it into monthly payments of $39.99. You save $100 if you sign up for the full year, which is the smartest way to do it. Nowhere else can you get a year of this insight, coaching, etc. Nowhere else. And this is an amazing community. I love everybody that's in here. And what's interesting, I think about the people that's in here and how I have um when I don't see you guys, a lot of times I don't see you guys respond, like comment, and I'm like, where the hell you at? Ask for Trina. I literally messaged her one day because I was like, I ain't seen you in a few days. Where are you? Are you okay? And because what happens is we are like when you're in a community, you notice when family not showing up. And this work is something that I know we have to keep doing. So if we're family, and I know I've messaged Stephanie before, like if we're family and I know you've been in here, but then all of a sudden I don't see you after a few days, I need to make sure you're still doing the work. Do you know how many people came for in September for faith and finances? And I can go in and click on your name and I can see how many emails you opened to mine, by the way. That's another reason why. So with faith and finances, it was a little bit different. It was open to everyone, and then you could upgrade for the recordings, and that was fine. We grew it. We got people, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm not doing that anymore, actually. I will always have at least one free post that come out a week, but all that good content is going to be locked for partners. And here's why. The vast majority of the free people would open like 3 or 4 emails, at max 10 out of 30 days, because they were not invested. Eat the bread. Because they were not invested. And I'm like, no. The people who are in this community and need to be in community, you need to be invested to be here. Because how dare I'm giving all this very high level information. High level can change your life and you're not even opening emails. No. Partners only. They- That's what made me make that decision. Whereas initially I was like, oh, maybe I'll do it, and like I did that and leave it open and then close it at midnight. No, partners only. People who want it, people who are invested. Let's see. Looking forward to the challenge. Yes, guys. So the conference also, thank you for mentioning the conference. The conference, you can find the conference at thestillwellsociety.com. It's on the website. I actually will probably put a link here too, somewhere on the site. By the way, just for those who don't know, the Stillwell Society looks different in app versus online. So if you go online and look, you can see like the tabs across the top. Everything's broken up. You can go straight to faith and finances. At some point when we're done, the 30-day reprogramming challenge, you'll be able to go. And it's literally everything's broken up. It looks different on the phone. I don't know why. I guess I won't complain. It's not my platform, but it looks different on the phone. From a desktop or a laptop, you get to see it. And so that also would have been why you had a time last night too, because there is a tab up there that says become a TSS partner. And you could just click on it and go to it. So yeah. But we have a conference that's January 18th and 19th here in Atlanta. I'm very excited about it. Intimate, and we are spending those 2 days. I don't know why I really wanted to say a week. Boy, not me making this a week. We're spending those 2 days actively doing reprogramming work, somatic work, breath work, working through things, working through the childhood things, and then not just working through them, but putting in new beliefs around that and learning tips and techniques and insights that we won't even get to even in the 30 days. Right. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, it's on the stillwellsociety.com, but I will also put it on Substack. Community indeed is giving family. Yes, it is. You have no idea. And let me tell you guys a secret. It's amazing how you grow, you get older, you learn. Like early in my entrepreneur days, I don't think I was as heavy on community. Um, and I realized we are moving into a time, I don't know if it was COVID or what, but we need each other. We need people, and we need like-minded people. And as much, again, as social media irks my butt, social media gets on my nerves. It's like social media will expose you to your people in your community. Now, where are we going to go? That we can actually be a community. And that's also kind of like what I see the live event too, being family showing up. I'm only promoting it to you guys. Family showing up, right? I love Tanisha and you for checking on me. Tanisha, you did too. I'm telling you, I was like, where is she? I didn't like that. I didn't like that she disappeared. I'm like, I always say I act like somebody mama, and then I'm like, I am somebody mama. That's probably, I don't know, but I don't like when y'all disappear. I love that check on me. Yes, yes, yes. The challenge is an upgraded subscription, not the, no, 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 no. What you got is the challenge. So you're under there. I signed up as an individual. That is all you need. Sign up as an individual and you have access not just to the challenge, but everything on the site. Our past challenges, locked articles. You got everything you need. Okay. Hopefully I cleared that up. No, you're good. I only have one offering in here. Um, just so you guys know, there's only three things that's available. Well, I guess technically four. Three things that's available though. Here, the Stillwell Society partner get access to everything. There are not multiple levels here, right? Um, it's a yearly thing, but you can do it as monthly payments if that's better for you. I suggest yearly because we're being good stewards. So if you can pull yearly and save $100, right? Then we have live events. I haven't done a live event in a very long time, like a couple years at least. And even the one I had then, when my lot somebody else put it on for me, I don't do a lot of live events, so that's what we're doing in January. Technically, this is our only community. And then we have SQL, the School of Quantum Living. I haven't opened the doors for that in a year. And it's another 1-year program, but it's the one where at least once a month we hop on a Zoom, we do laser coaching. That's the call I had earlier today. So we technically have 3 calls a month. One is a quantum style call that Sharice actually runs and has the girls now doing their Pinterest stuff, getting their stuff together, photo shoots, like all sorts of stuff. And then we have our community call. And then we have typically a book a month that we read that turns into a coaching call too, because that's what we do. Calls last 2 to 3 hours. Typically, you don't have to stay the whole time, but they do last because we do go in depth. It really is such a good time, but the doors aren't open for that. Like I said, I haven't opened it in a year. I might open it coming to New Year for people who want to come into a coaching community with me in next year. So the only thing is open is this or that. And then one-on-one, which is really invite only or referral unless you're in a community like this and I know you and then you reach out and we can kind of determine from there. Yeah. Um the VIP option then, instead of being the 18th and 19th, it's the 17th, 18th, and 19th, and we are doing an intimate dinner. Sharice was trying to talk me into doing the dinner at my house. She was like, no, this is perfect. Like, you should do it at your house, blah, 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 blah. We're going to do an intimate dinner that's also going to be a mastermind. So very much like a sister close. We're getting like that's extra close. So when the 18th come, that group will have gotten to know each other, done a lot of work already, but it's very much high level because it's a smaller group, if that makes sense. We truly do need each other. Community is just so important. And I am very, I literally flipped to the other side. I was like, so like, oh, I'm not building a community, blah, 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 blah. And now I flip to community is everything. It's amazing, right? Yes, both of you did on the same day. Are you serious? That is hilarious. We didn't talk about it. I didn't even know she checked on you. Thank God. Oh no, you froze. Okay, okay, perfect. All right. So, yeah, like I said, you can go to the stillwellsociety.com, the actual website, click on Made Manifest Conference or Made Manifest, and that's where the conference tickets are. And then you have here, that's really all that I have that's open right now. So I don't want anybody to be confused about what we're doing. I've never really been one to have a whole bunch of options going at one time. I get overwhelmed and I don't want to do it. That's my truth. I get overwhelmed. So rest assured, if you're here, you're in my community. And then when the coaching for SQL opens for January, which if I open it, it'll open in December most likely to kick off 2026. All right. And it's very internal work focused, but also entrepreneur focused, make money, like all those different things. Okay. Oh, the sex question. Girl, what you asked me? Ask me the question again. You asked me about sex and money. I'm laughing because of why did you ask me? No worries, no worries. I just don't want to have to scroll and find it. I can if I need to, but just ask one more time. It was something around sex and money. Let me put my glasses on. Oh, so not sex in the sake of having sex, but I want you to think about sex and or any sort of intimacy and how it can elevate your frequency, right? Anything that elevates your frequency, high emotions, feels good. And let me also say, this might not be the answer you want. It can also do the opposite, especially if you are intimate with someone who is not high vibrational, who brings you anxiety, right? So it has to be the right situation, but you absolutely can have sex and use that energy having sex to call in and attract more money because you feel good. Most people, when they're having sex, they're just being animalistic and they're not thinking about that. I am probably the most annoying person because I think this is a mixed crowd on here. Um, but I'm focused on I need to manifest whatever it is I'm trying to manifest, right? I would just feel good. Okay, he's not high vibe. Um, and that doesn't necessarily matter, but in general, we need to start practicing having sex with people who there's some alignment. But you can for the sake of feeling good. Absolutely. You absolutely can. And if you shoot me a message in my DM, we could talk a little bit more about it. I wish we had voice message here. We don't. It sucks. Maybe they'll add that. I did leave it as a suggestion. And a couple years ago when I first got on here with other accounts, it was smaller on Substack. There are now millions of people here. I think it's over 300 million. It's a crazy number. Um, Anything you suggest, you'll show up a week later and all of a sudden we will have it on the site. I think it's a lot more noise to get through now. And I don't know if they do it quite like that, but I would love voicemail here. But shoot me a message and we definitely could talk more. Let's see. Sharice must have popped in and popped out because I see her saying hi. So yeah, good alignment brings good orgasm. Exactly. And in that space, that's also another hypnotic state, by the way. That's another theta brainwave state, which is why if you're having the right thoughts, you're in the right state of mind, that'll do what it needs to do. All right. I think I covered everything. All right, guys. It was such a pleasure. If you again haven't joined either one, join it. By noonish, somewhere between 12 and 2, you should get the welcome packet, the welcome email, the welcome information from me. And day after tomorrow, we get started. So yeah. Oh, I was speaking after you introduced me. Oh, okay, I missed that part. Yes, I heard that. Yeah, I know it's true. I was using it to move me into action, and I loved it. Yes, like, and so again, the reason I said I might be annoying because I think everything should be done with purpose. Everything should be done with purpose, and I think it's okay for some things to be pure enjoyment. But if I can enjoy and like it work towards the things, then let's do it. And if not, I could save my time and body for something else. Yeah. I hope that makes sense to you. I'm excited. I'm excited to. All right, let me see. Hold on. I'm always late to the party. Shakira, I know. I know, Shakira. Is it the time zone? We're Eastern time. You always come after 8. That's what made me think it might be a time zone thing for you. You might be, maybe you're central, so we're an hour ahead of you. But that's okay. The recording will be up shortly. And I'm just excited for all of us. And let's get started, okay? And just in your mind, set an intention. It doesn't have to be for one tangible thing. Your intention could be to step into the version of you 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Like choose what your intention is and like really sit with that and pray about that and put that out. Okay. All right, you guys have a good night. Toodles. Wait a minute, hold on. What did it say? I'm on the same time zone. I have to set a reminder. Oh, I get the notices, but don't pay attention to my phone. Oh, because that was going to be my next question. Do you not have the app? Because I know if you have the app, then you'll have a push notification, but the email, you got to actively check your email. So, and I always tell it. Oh, you guys said that's what you wanted. I didn't see anybody say they wanted it. Okay, for the thingy, I didn't see anybody say they wanted it. So okay. Oh, and you hung in here all night. Good for you. At least you're going to bed on a high note. So yes, I'll go in and check those comments to make sure you guys did want the 5-minute things. I was like, I can record that. Like that's not difficult, and I'll get that done for you guys this weekend as well. All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. If you have any questions, leave them as comments when this posts the recording. You can always put any questions as a comment. Or if you're a partner, you can DM me. All right, bye guys.